Well, thanks everyone for joining us today for this podcast. My name is Kim Zimmermann, and I am Senior Managing Editor of Marketing ID, as well as the Managing Report. And today we have with us Ruth Stevens. She's consultant, speaker, educator, and the author of, most recently with Teresa Kushner, of a book titled B2B, Data-Driven Marketing Sources, Uses, and Results. And Ruth, want to talk to you a little bit about what inspired you to take on this particular book on data-driven marketing.
Thank you. Well, I've been writing and researching in this area for many years, maybe about 15 years. And with a colleague of mine, Bernice Grossman, I had been producing annually a research report on B2B database marketing. And I've also run across a lot of B2B marketers who have questions about data and how they can get the most value out of it. So I thought it's time for a book. And I was lucky enough to be able to tap into the help and the brains of Teresa Kushner, who was a colleague of mine at IBM in the 90s. And she wrote half the chapters and I wrote half.
Great. In the book, there are a lot of case studies with some specific results from top companies who are doing data-driven marketing. Can you talk about a few of the outstanding use cases and the results that they've achieved with data-driven marketing?
Indeed. It's pretty exciting how B2B marketers are glomming on to the power of statistical modeling, segmentation, profiling, and other database marketing techniques to drive additional revenue and profitability. So I was able to compile about 8 different case studies for the book. And just to speak briefly about 2 of them, one is an industrial company called Makino. They make high-end machine tools, that's metal cutting tools for automotive and aerospace industries. And they realized about 10 years ago that they shouldn't be targeting all of the machine tools buyers in the US. In fact, only a couple, maybe about 10, 15, 20,000 accounts are ever really likely to buy from a high-end producer like them. So instead of spending their entire marketing budget on trade shows and trade publications like, say, aerospace and metals industry publications, they decided to build a robust marketing database and populate it with those very 20,000 accounts that are their likeliest prospects as well as their current customers. And that combined with a very robust investment in content marketing, they were able to dramatically increase their marketing ROI. Their marketing expense as a percentage of sales has fallen every year since they initiated this effort, and they really have a lot to say about how they did that. So it was a very robust case. Another interesting case was from a tech marketer called Five9 that publishes, well, I guess you don't call it publishes, but produces software as a service, call center management software for the mid-market. And similarly, they found that by using data-driven marketing techniques, they could become much more efficient in their prospecting, namely by building lookalike statistical models to identify prospective customers who look very similar to their existing top customers. So that's another really revealing and interesting case that I was able to cover in the book.
So they're really using data to drive a look at their next best customer who they should be going after.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Well, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is looking forward in 2016 as we do this time of year. What are some of the tools and techniques that you're seeing companies use going forward to improve their results with data-driven marketing?
Well, there's so much going on. It's hard to select just a few, but let me focus on three areas where a little bit of effort can have remarkable results. The first is a focus on keeping your data clean. This is sometimes known as data hygiene, and it reflects the reality that in business to business, data tends to degrade at the rate of 4 to 6% per month. So within a year, as much as a third of your customer and prospect data may be inaccurate. So it's essential to pay attention to data cleanliness. And a couple of techniques, there are a number of them mentioned or described in detail in Chapter 5, but a couple of techniques include starting by key entering the data correctly in the first place. Sounds a little elementary, but it can have a great impact on cleanliness. Another is making sure that you're offering your top customers a chance to maintain the data for you by developing a customer preference center and letting them update their preferences for communications and also their contact information at a website. And there are a bunch of other techniques that I could refer your readers to in the book. And then finally, I wanted to just mention briefly that a number of B2B marketers, I think, are getting a bit overwhelmed because big data sounds a little bit scary. It's sort of daunting. And I'd just like to remind us all that most of us B2B marketers are actually working with little data, not so big. And most of us are targeting a limited number of accounts. And so what we need to do as strategic marketers is make sure we have complete and accurate information about our current customers and our prospects, and that we're applying that information to its best use for marketing purposes. And not be daunted, but be vigilant.
Oh, interesting. And it all comes back to data hygiene. And interesting point about giving prospects the ability to tell you how they want to communicate. Well, Ruth, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today and providing these insights. And I appreciate your time.
Delighted. Thank you.